So this is the first time that we've ever stayed in a Thousand Trails. And you know what they say about first impressions?
Yeah, man.
What do they say about first impressions?
I think we have a different take maybe. What's yours?
First impressions are everything?
They are kind of everything, but this is just the price of admission, all right? Like, that's what I was told. First impressions, it's just the price of admission.
Well, either way, whether you've heard of Thousand Trails or not, today we're gonna talk to you about our first impression of a Thousand Trails.
And in case you didn't know, it is one of the largest RV park and campground networks in North America. We're asking ourselves a huge question. Is it even worth it? Okay, so like we said, this is our first stay at a Thousand Trails Campground. And while it's our first impression, we're gonna give you some of the things that we have found out about Thousand Trails.
And what you should expect if you are going to invest in a membership.
Or just stay here and pay the full retail.
So, let's get straight to the deets.
Oh, before we do that though, you are gonna wanna stick around because we have some fun things that we're gonna ask the not so perfect lifers.
So hang out with us through this video because we have some really important questions to ask you that might involve Silas's Tarzan hair.
Ooh, yeah.
Silas,
Yeah.
what's the deal, bro?
Okay, so should I cut it or not? Kind of driving me crazy because, you know, I have to actually take care of it. And that's annoying. A ton of people call me a girl. Don't like it. It's annoying. All you girls out there, I don't know how you do it. It's annoying. It's too much for me. Too much responsibility.
But your hair is so righteous, Silas. Oh boy.
And these lovely locks as well.
We're making lemonade from lemons.
Yes.
Okay, if you haven't watched what's going on in our not so perfect world, you need to understand we're making everyday life beautiful right now in our current scenario.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's going on, you should probably check out our video When a Medical Emergency Strikes. You'll see the thumbnail 911. Okay, we've had a accident happen in our family.
And I'll link that video in the description below.
And now that has brought us here to a Thousand Trails Campground. So we figure, why not? We're here. Let's talk to you about what the heck Thousand Trails is.
Yeah, man.
And what it has to offer.
Yeah.
Did you know that Thousand Trails has what?
81 Thousand Trails specific campgrounds all throughout different areas of the country.
Amongst like 22 states or something like that.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yes, and even for our peeps way up north. That's Canadian for north.
That's why we said North America.
Right.
Because if we just said the United States, we would be incorrect because technically they have a campground in British Columbia, Canada. So we include North America, friends.
Yeah, man. Fly the flag, Lindell Beach. So largely it is built off of obtaining a membership to be a part of the Thousand Trails camping system.
And if you get a membership, then when you camp there, it's free.
Right, there's no out-of-pocket cost to camp.
Zip,
Zero.
nothing.
Zilch.
Zero.
Nada. It's free to camp if you're a member within their system.
Free, though.
Right.
Because you do pay for the membership, which we'll get into later what those costs are. You can also stay here if you're a non-member, us currently.
Yeah.
And the only reason we're here is because of our medical emergency, and this was the only campground that I could find that would accommodate us for weeks.
Right, the extended stay part.
Right.
However,
we are paying full retail price.
That's called paying out the nose.
But it's what we had to do.
Right.
Okay, so now we're thinking to ourselves, all right, Thousand Trails, they have membership.
Yeah.
What does that look like? So paying retail price, we can honestly tell you, this is the most expensive place we have stayed in our entire year of RVing.
It actually kind of reminded us about how we should set our expectations for a park, right? Because when we read what the park was. It literally had the word resort in the title.
RV Resort Campground.
Yeah.
And it's super expensive, so we were like,
oh, it's gonna be trimmed and polished and primed and
this
proper.
would be nice.
And it's not that it's terrible, right? But when I hear the word resort and I'm paying the amount of money I am per night for the stay, I'm kind of thinking in my mind it was way up here.
Yeah.
And realistically, it just wasn't up there.
You gotta like bring it down a few notches.
Yeah. So we're not saying that it's bad, right?
It's just not quite what we expected it to be.
Yeah. So
let's get our perspective proper.
And I think the best way to really do that is kind of look at this campground, since it is our first and only impression of Thousand Trails. What are the pros and what are the cons, right?
Yep.
So let's jump in with the pros. The first pro for us was that when we pulled up to the entrance,
strolling right on in our first time.
Yep, there was a guard shack there with a 24-hour-a-day, 365 guard right there at the shack.
Yeah, and like the little things that come down.
Yep.
Like you can't get through until you talk to the guard.
Right.
That's a little added sense of security
right.
when you're staying somewhere, or if you're gonna be hanging out and leaving your rig somewhere, you know it's gonna be protected 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's a good sense of peace of mind to have, especially when you're traveling. And if you're traveling full time, you have your house with you. So, and even if you don't, an RV is an investment. So to know that it's guarded, that was a big plus for us.
Yeah, Thousand Trails set themselves up to have a lot of activities for families to be able to do.
For sure.
And for us, that would be a huge plus.
Yeah, those amenities are like basketball, shuffleboard,
a pool, a hot tub, a pool table room. They have a rec center. They have even games that you can check out. Like you can take the games or puzzles and check them out and go play them in your RV.
There's just lots of things that you can be doing to keep yourself active, and they have enough activities. Hey! The amenities are certainly there. Okay, so this may seem like a weird pro, but as a dog owner, it is actually a fantastic pro. When you're walking your dog around the park, you have the ominous duty of picking up the duty, right? Not fun, but they have doggy bag stations with those little doggy bags to stick your hand in and take care of the business.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
All over the park. And honestly, friends with pets, you need to pick up after your pet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, because the bags are so prevalent here, at least in this park,
it makes it really easy to do.
Yeah, and there isn't dog mess everywhere. So kudos to this campground for having such a plethora of dog cleanup stations.
Yeah. They also have stuff like cabins and tiny houses and yurts that you can rent. You can tent camp here. That's kind of a pro in our mind. It gives you a little bit different vacation or whatever.
Or for a full-timer, if your RV is in the shop and you're near 1,000 Trails and you have a membership, dude, you could get that cabin and kind of stay in a cabin while your rig is getting repaired.
Yeah, so to us, that was a plus.
Absolutely.
Another pro is you can actually receive packages here.
Yeah.
You can sign up through parcel pending. You do have to pay a fee of like $15, but I think that actually allows you to receive parcels for what, a year?
Yeah, a year, and it's all throughout the Parcel Pending network. So it's not just dedicated to Thousand Trails, it's wherever Parcel Pending will deliver. And this happens to be one of the areas that they deliver. So if you're here, at least at this particular location, you can receive packages from places like Amazon, UPS, and the likes.
Yeah, which was really nice because we were actually able to receive some care packages for Kian. So it was really cool. We signed up.
So let's talk about con, if you will.
Let's just talk real talk right now.
It is involving upkeep on your campground.
Wait, upkeep?
Yeah.
What? Upkeep.
Oh man. Okay guys, look, I get it. It's a campground. My expectations should be different maybe because it's rustic, it's wilderness, but
no.
Dude,
we have been at campgrounds where we spent $25 and they come and rake your site.
Yeah,
the
it's dialed in, man.
Host cares for your spot like it's their spot.
Yeah.
And this particular park, let's just say
let's not be too mean though.
This isn't mean.
Okay.
let's just say that if this campground had an HOA,
we would be fine.
they'd be fined and getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Because there are overgrown weeds, there are lots of spider webs. Like, you actually can't even go sit in that little bench back there to
Unless you
enjoy.
love having spiders crawl all over you all the time.
Right, because if you wanted to go sit in that little bench and enjoy the little river with the ducks and geese, that, by the way, rule this campground.
They run this town.
Have you ever been in a campground where the wildlife completely took over the campground?
Oh man, for real. Bears,
Squirrels,
elk.
or where any other kind of wildlife like ran the town?
Yeah.
Let us know your experience. Hashtag
Run this town.
down below in the comments and tell us about your experience with wildlife taking over the campground.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Another con to, I think, the entire Thousand Trails system, truthfully, is you can't specifically order a site, right?
Well, you can make a reservation, but even if you make a reservation, and when you make a reservation, you don't get a designated camping spot.
Right, like they're not just gonna issue you Site 137.
No, what you actually have to do is drive around their entire campground until you find an open space.
You have to kind of take what you could get, and that is a huge drawback. It's a huge con for us.
For us, because you might be able to make your reservation 2 months ahead of time, but you still, upon arrival, take whatever you can get.
Yeah, and I don't really find that to be attractive as a consumer, because if I'm paying for a membership, I want to be able to utilize that membership to its maximum. And if it's just like a crapshoot every time I roll into a campground, especially after a drive day, dude, the last thing I want to do is drive around a campsite for like 30 plus minutes trying to just find a site. I'm just not interested in that.
I don't want to be like all complainy, but it's just the reality.
Do you think we sound like camping divas right now?
I don't think so. This is our impression, and it is what it is. So, if I had to say one more con, I would say that it's kind of like a parking lot. And I don't know that all of them are like this, but you are like...
You're very close to the next camper. So if you want solitude and privacy, do not expect that, at least at this Thousand Trails campground that we're at.
Right. And that could be a pro for some of you who really like to be right next to your neighbor.
Right.
But for us, it's a little bit of a drawback because we do like a little bit more privacy. So I guess it's to each his own.
Yeah. So let's talk about some pricing. Now, it is undoubtedly a little confusing. Okay.
But we're going to break it down simple terms, Jason and Dellynn style.
Right.
You can get a lifetime pass or you can get a camping pass. And that, my friends, are your weekend warriors, are your peeps who like to go out in the summertime and for holiday weekends, okay? And then the lifetime is way more geared towards full-timers.
Right.
So there's a little something for everybody.
Yeah. So let's break it down real simply. Let's start with just one thing, and that's the camping pass. The way Thousand Trails breaks up their system is in zones. Well, how much is a camping pass? $615.
And that is for one zone.
Right.
If you want to purchase other camping zones throughout the country, like a Florida zone or a Pacific Northwest zone, you can do that for
$65 a zone.
So that would be beneficial for weekend warriors, for peeps who know, like, I love to vacation, but I'm going to stay within like a couple of states around me. If you are those people, the camping pass might be something that's awesome to look at. Aside from that, if you are full-timers, or you know you're going to be traveling the entire summer, or you know that you are going to be several weeks throughout the year in your RV or camping across the country, the lifetime membership might be more of what you want to look at. I think without getting into all the little small details, because if you're really interested, you should contact somebody from 1,000 Trails. But
For sure.
from our understanding, the lifetime memberships, and this is if you buy them brand new, range anywhere from $6,000 to $15,000.
And that is a major investment.
But they have all kinds of benefits. And again, if you full-time or you RV a lot throughout your lifetime, I mean, it can end up being like between $2 to $5 per night
Right.
that you stay. So it's super worth it if you're gonna do this for long term.
If you're gonna leverage the membership, it is 100% worth the cost. But
Right.
if you're not, it will take you years, guys, right, to get to where the membership benefit outweighs the nightly cost. Let me just share with you some expense, real world style, right,
Okay.
about what it would actually cost you in a per night stay. And here's how we're gonna break it down. Let's get a calculator out. If the upfront investment for a membership is $7,000, right, that's what you have. Plus, you have a yearly maintenance fee.
Oh, so we can't forget that. In the lifetime membership, you want to continue throughout each year. You do have an annual fee of
Right.
about $600.
Right. So let's break down a membership like this. We're going to do the most basic. Elite Basic for $7 grand. There's a yearly maintenance fee of $615. Okay. Well,
Okay.
if you own that membership for 10 years, the membership is $7,000. Well, those other additional membership fees is going to be another $6,150 over the course of 10 years.
Okay. And what is that total?
So let's add that up. $6,150 plus $7,000, that equals $13,150.
Whew.
And you might be saying to yourself, I will never spend that much money for camping. Okay, well, let's break that down. If all you do is camp for 2 weeks out of the summer over the course of 10 years, that ends up costing you $93 a night. That's what it costs you. However, you can see now that if you camp, let's say 28 days out of the entire year, that's now gonna cut that in half from 93 to like 45, 48 a night. So the more you use the membership, the cheaper it becomes over the span of its life.
Right. So you can see, if you're going to be RVing or camping a lot throughout the year, this would be something that you would consider. Because those figures are, we only travel 2 to 4 weeks out of the year.
Right,
You know, it may or may not be worth it for you.
right.
Let's just say that you took the whole summer off and you traveled the entire summer.
Also, if you did 90 days for a decade, that's 900 camp stays. So we divide that by 900. That now becomes $14.61 a night.
Right. So only paying $14 for full hookups and amenities and a pool and games and activities and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
So that's why we're taking something that's kind of confusing and just bringing it into what are the real world number, what are the real world numbers when you're talking about the math of the stay, and letting you see that kind of firsthand.
Yeah. Those are new costs, but you can purchase a used membership,
Yep.
i.e. somebody who's had it for 10 years, they're not using it anymore,
Correct.
and they're gonna sell their membership. There's a fee for $750 to transfer it.
Yep.
You do have to make sure that 1,000 Trails approves it, but you can find in the used market somewhere between like $3,000 to $5,000 for a 1,000 Trails membership.
Yep.
And when you're doing that, you're gonna wanna make sure to find out all the details, but
Find out what transfers, what doesn't, because you're going to want to make sure you get the benefits, right, if you're
Mhm.
paying for something.
Yeah, that could be a much more economical way to get involved into the 1,000 Trails network, if you will. So
Yeah.
there are used membership options.
Sorry if it was so confusing. Sorry if it was so much information. Rewind, watch it twice. But just know, guys, there's a ton of information. If you really have like hardcore questions, contact 1,000 Trails. They will certainly help you.
Yeah, so here's where you come in.
Yeah.
For those of you who have 1,000 Trails and you understand this a little better, please comment below and let us know what you think.
So break it down for us. If Dellynn and I are sitting with you at your kitchen table and we were saying, all right, what's your advice? What would you advise us to do?
Is it worth it?
Right.
Do you have it? Do you like it? Does it work for you?
Yeah.
And honestly, we're really on the fence
Yeah.
because our first impression of here is like,
Do we
Okay.
want to make that investment? That's a lot of money. What if all the campgrounds are kind of like that? I don't know. I mean,
yeah. So is it worth it is really a big question that we're asking you.
Right.
Tell us what you think.
Right.
During our stay here, we have gotten a little stir crazy from just sitting inside 24/7. And things are populating amongst the not so perfect home. And
One of those involves this.
Silas! Come here!
so tell us, friends, should Tarzan cut his hair or let it rock and roll like the 80s?
Let it ride.
And should I just have some fun like Cyndi Lauper and let the girls have some fun and be purple or red or blue or
Oh my God.
I don't know, something fun? I don't really care. I'm just bored. I miss having my Little Mermaid Ariel hair like you see in the intro.
Roll back the intro. If you don't know what we're saying, you'll see that brightly colored hair. Now listen, she's kind of telling you, she's flagging you where she's bored. She wants something new.
To do or not to do.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We are
Making everyday life beautiful. We hope that you are doing the same.
so thanks so much for hanging out, and we will see you in the next one.